What does it feel like to lose your innocence? Can a single moment change the course of a life forever? These are the questions that dance at the edges of Edvard Munch's haunting masterpiece, Death and the Child. Created in 1899, this painting appears deceptively simple at first glance. But look closer, and you'll find yourself drawn into a world of profound grief, psychological trauma, and the shattering of childhood innocence. Let's start by describing what we see in this painting. The composition is taller than it is wide, creating a sense of confinement that adds to the overall unsettling atmosphere. In the foreground, on the left side of the canvas, we see a small child with blonde hair. This child is facing us, the viewers, but has turned her back to a bed in the background. The child's posture is striking. Her arms are raised, with her hands seemingly pressed against her ears, as if trying to block out some terrible sound or reality. Her head is slightly lowered, and her facial expression is one of profound unhappiness. Her blue eyes are wide open, conveying a sense of shock or horror. The child is dressed in a white top with sleeves that reach her elbows, or perhaps have slipped back. Over this, she wears a pale purple dress that falls to her knees, paired with black stockings and dark boots. This outfit, with its mix of light and dark elements, seems to symbolize the child's position between innocence and the harsh reality she's facing. In the background, we see a bed or sofa. Lying on this bed is a figure, a woman with dark hair. Her eyes are closed, and she's resting on a white puffy pillow. We can see part of her upper body, which is covered in white. Her arms appear to be crossed over her chest, a common position for the deceased. The color palette Munch uses is crucial to the painting's impact. The floor is a dull orange, which reappears in shadows around the pillow, creating an unsettling resemblance to bloodstains. The wall behind the bed is a grayish-green, blending almost imperceptibly with the green blanket covering the lower part of the woman's body. What's particularly striking is the contrast between the child and the woman. The child has a healthy skin color and a tense posture, embodying life and vitality. In contrast, the woman in the bed appears extremely gaunt and worn out. Her skin color is barely distinguishable from the white pillowcase, suggesting she's either dead or very close to death. This stark juxtaposition of life and death, of a vibrant child facing the reality of mortality, is at the heart of what makes this painting so profoundly disturbing. To truly understand the depth of this painting, we need to know a bit about its creator, Edvard Munch. Born in 1863 in Norway, Munch had a life that was, to put it mildly, challenging. His experiences profoundly shaped his art, and Death and the Child is no exception. Munch's childhood was marked by tragedy. When he was just 5 years old, his mother died of tuberculosis. This loss had a profound impact on young Edvard, and its echoes can be seen throughout his artistic career. But the tragedy didn't end there. 9 years later, when Munch was 14, his older sister Sophie also succumbed to tuberculosis. These early encounters with death left an indelible mark on Munch's psyche. His art often explored themes of loss, grief, and the fragility of life. Death and the Child is a prime example of how Munch channeled his personal pain into his art. But it wasn't just the deaths themselves that affected Munch. The aftermath, particularly his father's reaction, also played a significant role in shaping his worldview. After his wife's death, Munch's father turned to a joyless, oppressive form of religious devotion. This cast a long shadow over the Munch household, stifling the children's emotional expression and adding another layer of psychological burden to their grief. These experiences help explain why Munch's art often has a dark, psychological edge. He wasn't just painting scenes, he was exorcising his own demons and exploring the depths of human emotion. Now that we understand a bit about Munch's background, let's dive deeper into the painting itself. Death and the Child is more than just a depiction of a sad scene. It's a complex exploration of grief, innocence lost, and the psychological impact of death. The central figure of the child is particularly significant. Many art historians believe that this child represents Munch himself, or at least his psychological state. The child's posture, hands over ears, eyes wide with horror, perfectly captures the overwhelming nature of grief, especially for a young child. It's worth noting that the child is turned away from the bed where the woman lies. This could be interpreted in several ways. It might represent denial, the child's inability to face the reality of death, or it could symbolize the emotional distance that death creates, the sudden and irreversible separation between the living and the dead. The child's gaze, directed at the viewer, is particularly unsettling. It's as if the child is silently pleading for help or understanding, or perhaps warning us of the inevitable grief that awaits us all. This direct engagement with the viewer draws us into the scene, making us not just observers, but participants in this moment of profound loss. The woman in the bed, while not the focal point of the painting, is equally important to its impact. Her gaunt appearance and the way her skin seems to blend with the bedding create a ghostly effect. She's already fading away, becoming one with the inanimate objects around her. This visual representation of the transition from life to death is subtle but deeply affecting. The color scheme of the painting also deserves attention. The dull orange of the floor, which seems to creep up onto the bed in blood-like stains, creates a sense of unease. The greenish tones of the wall and blanket add to the sickly atmosphere. Even the child's pale purple dress seems to exist in a liminal space between the vibrancy of life and the pallor of death. One art critic described the painting as featuring devastating figures of expression that directly touch the viewer. This is an apt description. The power of death and the child lies not in grand gestures or dramatic scenes, but in its ability to capture and convey raw emotion in a way that resonates deeply with the viewer. The story of death and the child doesn't end with its creation. The painting has had an interesting journey over the years, and it even holds a surprising secret. In 1918, the painting was purchased by the Kunsthalle Bremen, an art museum in Germany. This acquisition was significant, as it marked the first time a Munch painting had been bought by a German museum. The director of the Kunsthalle, Emil Waldmann, paid 20,000 Deutsche Marks for the painting, a considerable sum at the time. But the real surprise came nearly a century after the painting was created. The Munch Museum in Oslo, working on cataloging all of Munch's works, requested a closer examination of Death and the Child. When the painting was X-rayed, an astonishing discovery was made. There was another painting hidden underneath. This second, previously unknown painting is on a canvas of the same size as Death and the Child. It's unsigned and undated, but experts believe it was created around 1895 to 1898. The hidden painting shows a seated nude girl next to several large, brightly colored mask-like heads and gripping hands. It's been given the title Girl and Three Male Heads. Why would Munch paint over one of his works? There are a few theories. Some experts suggest that the hidden painting might have served as a supporting canvas for Death and the Child, possibly due to a lack of materials or because Munch wasn't satisfied with the original work. Interestingly, numerous fingerprints were found on the edges of the painting, suggesting that Munch moved it around frequently while the paint was still wet. This indicates that he likely worked on the composition over an extended period, continually refining and adjusting it. This hidden painting adds another layer of intrigue to Death and the Child. It makes us wonder about Munch's creative process, his decision-making, and how he viewed his own work. It also reminds us that art often has hidden depths, sometimes quite literally. While Death and the Child is deeply rooted in Munch's personal experiences, its power lies in its ability to speak to universal human experiences and emotions. At its core, this painting is about the loss of innocence. The child in the foreground, whether we see her as Munch himself or as a representation of all children, stands at the threshold between the protected world of childhood and the harsh realities of adult life. The death she's witnessing is likely her first encounter with mortality, and the painting captures that moment of terrible realization, the understanding that death is real, that it takes away the people we love, and that it's irreversible. This loss of innocence is a universal human experience. While not everyone loses a parent at a young age, we all have moments where we're confronted with the harsher aspects of reality. Munch's painting captures this moment in a way that resonates across cultures and time periods. The painting also speaks to the isolation of grief. Notice how the child stands alone, separated from the bed and its occupant. Even if there are other people in the room, which we can't see in this version, the child's experience of loss is deeply personal and solitary. This, too, is a universal aspect of grief, the feeling that no one else can truly understand or share our pain. Another theme that emerges is the continuity of life in the face of death. The child, vital and alive, stands in stark contrast to the pale, lifeless figure on the bed. This juxtaposition reminds us that, even as individuals die, life itself continues. It's a bittersweet realization, comforting in its promise of continuity, but painful in its implication that the world moves on even when we're caught in moments of profound loss. The painting also touches on the concept of memory and its role in processing grief. The child's posture, with hands over ears, might be interpreted as an attempt to block out the reality of what's happening, but it can also be seen as an attempt to hold on to memories, to keep the sound of a mother's voice alive even as her physical presence fades away. Lastly, Death and the Child speaks to the transformative power of loss. The child in this painting will never be the same after this moment. Loss changes us, forces us to confront difficult truths, and shapes our understanding of the world. Munch's painting captures this transformative moment with incredible emotional intensity. Death and the Child is indeed more disturbing than it might seem at first glance. Its power lies not in shocking imagery or graphic depictions, but in its ability to capture a moment of profound psychological anguish. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of art history, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos that peel back the layers of famous artworks.